Since now we have a good understanding of the basics of a union operator and how to perform up a union, so let's look at the correct syntax for producing up a union result by taking two tables into consideration. So the first table is the biodata data set, and as usual it has its 7 typical variables. The next data set which I'm going to consider is the Excel sample data set, which is again exactly similar to the one in biodata set except for its values. But before we begin with writing up the query, just I want you to make understand that there is a duplicate value in the biodata data set, and it is of the individual named Emma Wilson. So this query, this row is exactly similar to this one. So let's type in a query to perform a union between these two tables. So since we know that both of these tables are exactly similar in the order of these variables and the names of these variables and the data types of these variables, so since this is an ideal case, so let's prepare up a query for performing up a union. So it's safe to assume that I can select all of the variables from the first data set, which is represented by A, and I can also select all of the variables from the second data set represented by B. And so when I'm going to launch this query, so I am produced with a new report which tells me that the two of that firstly a query was performed for this portion, then a query was performed for this portion of the union, and then the query results were simply put one underneath the another. And let's try to analyze the results now. So the first thing that you would notice is that the record of Emma Wilson, this one, appears exactly once now. So there is no other record of Emma Wilson in this whole data set, but we know that in the biodata data set there were two records by the name of Emma Wilson which were duplicates of each other. So the first thing we come to understand is that whenever you perform up a union by writing up a query just like this, you're going to end up with a appended data set but with all the duplicate rows removed, and I say duplicate rows removed. So not the variables, not anything else, but the duplicate rows. And the other thing is that since one table was put just underneath the another, so sorry, the results of one table were put underneath the another table. So we can expect that the total number of results from this query would stand around so 11 plus 11 minus 1. So the total number of records for this data set should be equal to 21, and which is in fact the case. As you can see, there are 21 rows in this report that has been created, 21 of 21 records. So the default operation of the union operator, we saw that it removes the duplicates. There is also another way of seeing the union operator, and which is by typing in all after the union operator. And when you will type in all after the union operator, it is again going to perform of the typical union operation, but in this case it is going to keep the duplicates and is not going to remove the duplicates like it was done in the previous case. So let's try running this query. So in this case, you can see that the record for Emma Wilson has now appeared in both the cases. So it appears over here also, it appears over here also. And you can see that the number of records produced in this case is one more than the number of records produced in the previous scenario. So this was all about performing unions in MS Access. Hope you enjoyed this session. Thank you for watching.